Every weapon has a history. It is generally accepted that armored formations of tanks are much less effective without the support of infantrymen. Two of the brightest military minds of the 20th century, Heinz Guderian, the man who invented the German Blitzkrieg, and Mikhail Tukhachevsky, the modernizer of the Red Army, recognized this fact of battle that would change warfare forever. That tank units required close support from infantry and other arms, and these supporting arms needed to maintain the same pace as the tanks was key to successful ground operations. The Pakistan Army experienced this firsthand in the 1965 war with India, where it fielded two different types of tank divisions. One, which was almost pure armor, the first, did not perform as well as the other, more balanced division, the 6th. By themselves, tanks generally cannot hold ground, nor operate alone in thick country or built-up areas. They need the manpower of the infantry for that. First, motorized infantry in trucks and jeeps could maintain rapid movement and keep up with the tanks, but they required either a good road network or firm, open terrain. They were unable to negotiate a battlefield obstructed by craters, barbed wire, and trenches. Tracked or all-wheel drive vehicles were to be the solution. Able to keep up with the pace of armor and negotiate most obstacles, infantry was now mechanized. This fresh mobility would allow it to achieve its primary objective of holding ground or occupying enemy positions. Ground warfare would never be the same again.
Welcome to the Mechanized Infantry. Now we all know about the foot infantry, that it is deployed on feet. But mechanization has completely changed the way modern infantry warfare works. This is the logic. In any war, in any battle, there's always enemy positions. They might be dug in, they might be along a line. According to Pakistani doctrine, the armor, which is the Armoured Corps, which is tanks, always lead the attack. Because they're armored and fast and they have a lot of protection, they can plow through these enemy defenses, usually in troops or squadrons. But what armor doesn't have is enough manpower. The manpower comes from the infantry, which makes the infantry the largest arm of the Pakistani army. Now, how does the infantry keep up with the pace of the armor? Well, that's where the mechanized infantry comes in. Mechanized infantry battalions, MIB as they're called, through APCs, give enough momentum via the APCs to join armor. By the time these guys are through enemy defenses, these guys have joined them from various positions. They dismount their troops and then they hold this objective. Holding an objective is key to gaining ground. It's key to capturing enemy territory. Not just plowing through the defenses, but also capturing ground. That's key. That's where these guys come in. This is an M113P. It's a Pakistani version of the M113, which is effectively the most widely deployed, the most widely manufactured APC in living history. Armored 2 to 3 thick inches from across the board, but it's got different components. Let's start from right here. Let's start from the top. This is the tin wren. This deploys downwards during amphibious operations because this APC also has water fording capabilities. It can submerge itself in water. This is where grenade launchers come in. When the APC is in retreat, grenade launchers launch smoke grenades to cover the retreat of the APC if need be. All right, this is where the engine is, right inside here, and the engine is connected directly to this guy. This is a sprocket. As you can see, the track of the APC, which is metallic and rubber combined, the track of the APC has to be propelled further by the sprocket. The sprocket is connected directly to the engine. These are bogey wheels. You can't puncture them, you can't shoot them down, but they are idle, they are suspended. It is effectively this guy made of solid steel which propels the APC forward. That's how the mechanics of the APC work. The camouflage, of course, provides cover during enemy attacks, to confuse the enemy, etc. Fuel tanks on both sides, side 1, side 2. Fuel tanks are covered by armor itself. There's two sides, by the way. This is a diesel-powered APC, and its cruising range, which means the extent to which it can go with the top tank, is around 500 kilometers. So from point A to point B, you can cross over 500 kilometers in one go. That's quite a lot of distance. Let's get inside. First of all, to give you the mechanics of how it works, every APC has a seating logic. Every army has a seating logic. This is how it works for the Pakistani infantry. This is the engine room, but this effectively is the way the layout works. This is where a rifleman sits on the top right corner, accompanied by another rifleman. 60 mm is short for the mortar firer, because that is the size of his mortar. Another 60 mm mortar firer sits next to him, another rifleman at the bottom right corner. Opposite him is another rifleman, two more mortar firers, one more rifleman. The signals officer, the guy in charge of communications, sits next to the driver, who sits right in the front. In the middle is the company commander, or the commander of the APC, because he has to be protected. He is key to the entire operation. And then right next to him, facing outwards and leading the troops into deployment, into dismounting, is the 2IC, short for second in command. That is the seating logic. Seating can't be random. It has to work according to this order for dismounting. All right, let's look here. These guys are always kept standby for water fording operations. Effectively made of rubber, they're called sprouts. They're supposed to cover the tracks you just saw outside, because this APC, though it can go into the water, can submerge itself, will not function without these guys. Then, communication. Communication is key. Otherwise, this is just a tin can. There's two sorts of communication devices in this APC. First of all is the company radio, this one. The company radio gives the commander the capability to communicate with the rest of the company, which is at least 10 other APCs, which have around 10 to 12 men each. So that gives him the capability to deploy the entire company. But this radio gives him the ability to be in touch with his battalion commander itself. The battalion is the larger unit, where he has to report to his boss, the lieutenant colonel who's leading the battalion. So he has to be in touch with both, because communication is key. All right, let's take a looky here. This is the driver's compartment. Now, you were expecting a steering wheel? Don't. Because of tracks, not tires, the APC has to work in a completely different mechanic and dynamic. This is how it works. These guys are not only the left and right levers, but they are also the brakes. Speedometer, RPM meter, battery meter, and the fuel gauge are there. That's what you pull to start the APC. Right from there, engine indicator lights give you different levels. Those guys in the back, as you can see, those are an amphibious steering system, because when it's submerged in water, that's what makes the APC function go left and right during underwater. That's the gear change system, different warning, I guess you could call them charts, right over here. And that effectively makes up for the driver's department. Very importantly, when the cupola is down, which is when it is capped up, when the APC is capped up, this is what the driver has to look through. These are periscopes. These are his windows. During nighttime, these can be replaced with night vision periscopes as well. The Pakistan Army has that capability as well. But this is probably the fun part of the APC. This is the commander's seat. Now the commander wears a couple of hats. He's the commander of the APC as well, but he's also the gunner. He stands here during operations. Now, this is a 12.7 mm ACIC. It's you can set your target from there. Now, contrary to popular opinion, the ACIC is not for taking out ground troops. The ACIC is specially meant for taking out enemy air assaults, for example, enemy helicopters, because this APC has enough armor to withstand small arms fire if enemy soldiers are shooting with rifles, etc. But this is meant to take out enemy helicopters, because that is where the real threat, in fact, the only threat to this APC comes from, as well as other tanks. So that's the bottom line about the APC, and that's how mechanization works.